Hi, guys. Welcome to a new episode of Glued by SAS. So I hope you all are doing well. And Ishan, anything interesting happening in your life that you want to share with the viewers?
Nothing so far, but I've been getting a lot of compliments from my family and friends, being like, "Wow, you talk a lot." So that's
So is that a compliment or what? Or they're just rambling.
it's just I don't know. I think they like the work side of me more than the personal side of me.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice. And in terms of the episode that we did, I think people do want a lot more stuff on specific, like us getting a little
yeah,
deeper into certain subject matters, and they don't want us to be vague with some of the campaigns that we cover, or like just give our opinion on like, oh, we saw this is what we think. We can be a little more nuanced and come up with a bit more depth in the way we're going about covering some of these topics. And hence, it brings us to something very interesting that we often get asked in our day to day as well, which is brands often ask, what is an IP, right? Or they don't even know what an IP is. And we keep telling them that this is an opportunity to build an IP, right?
yeah,
So if I were to like keep it as simple and straightforward, most brands chase content, right? And smart brands build IPs, which is intellectual property, which is repeatable, which is owned. It's a ownable content format, which basically only your brand does in terms of how it's done, how it's recorded, the segment, the structure, all of it. And it compounds over time.
yeah.
So, which obviously brings me to something straightforward here to ask you, which is what are the IPs that you can think of top of mind that
You know,
you have come across?
off the top of my mind, I think people don't even know if these are IPs or not. That's the interesting bit, right? And that's why we're doing this episode. But right off the bat, I would say Hot Ones is like one of my favorite IPs. I've been following them for the longest time. I love the concept that they do. But that whole thing about recall value is something that's still there. Like they're still at it. They're still creating more episodes, featuring more people. And Humans of Bombay would be another IP that I feel like has that nostalgia factor. Since like Instagram, like we all joined it. I think one of the first few things that we saw was Humans of New York. Then I think that got adapted into Humans of Bombay. It was beautiful from that manner. And the second one would be Hot Ones. I think Hot Ones is something that's been like an episodic series that I've been following for the longest time, and it's such a great idea, great content as well. So
So
that.
what exactly like what is in the hot ones? Can you tell the viewers what the
So
hot
Hot
ones
Ones
essentially is?
Ones is essentially, I think it's a whack concept. It's a like it's basically one host interacting with a particular celebrity that comes on the show, and all they do is test out different sauces of different spice levels. So it's very interesting brand placement also. So they do different sauces of different spice levels with wings. That's what, it's as simple as that. So while they're testing it out, this dude is actually asking other people questions about them. So you can actually see the celebrities, people who can't tolerate spice, be in that state of spice, but doing an interview at the same time. So I think it's a very interesting take on doing like a boring interview, but having the spice level and having something to eat, and that aspect of them being distracted is a I think it's a great idea to build on it.
And you would tune in every time knowing it's a hot ones
Yeah,
episode
I
or
would.
like it's a content
The
piece.
interesting part is that because they grew, the products that were placed at inside Hot Ones was also very interesting, because they would actually talk about information of those different sources as well. So in a way, that was great. And to me also, I think the one thing that stood out was the host, which was that I think that guy's a crazy human being. Like he's a psycho. I'm sorry I'm using this term, but he's a psycho because he's the one also eating the sauces with the celebrities, but nothing happens to him. But the celebrities get wrecked throughout the show. So I think
That's crazy. So probably maybe the sauce that he uses or the hot ones are not as hot, right? Because he still needs to,
or maybe he's just eaten so much of spice at his life.
Yeah. Also, another one, Ishan, that comes to me like top of mind was GQ's What's in My Bag,
Hmm.
right? It's one of those
Oh,
IPs where we all know GQ and what they have been doing when they got into the internet game in terms of formatting for a IP or a show. I think such a cool short segment of basically having the actor, athlete, whoever it is that they're featuring in on the cover of GQ or in that month or week, they will basically sit down with them, shoot
hmm.
a segment where they literally are like, "Hey, Sean, what's in your bag? Tell us more." Right? And then you're like, oh, I can't travel without my lip gloss. I can't travel without my PS5. Oh, I can't travel without my cap. Or I love this
Hmm.
product that I love, or my Rubik's Cube. and people just tune in, and it has transcended borders in terms of every geography they've entered with GQ India, GQ Brazil, GQ London. It's been a hit across the board,
And it's
right?
such a
So
simple
people love
concept.
it.
It's a really simple concept. That's what I love about
Simple concept,
it. Yeah.
but so well executed. The
Yeah.
messaging is clear, and you know exactly what's happening,
And I think
right?
it
So I
humanizes
think,
people,
yeah.
also creates relatability. Like if you're a celebrity, people are put on a pedestal, but or what's in my bag is essentially humanizing them to the point where you kind of relate to them because they're also human beings.
Yeah, and what a great IP over time, dude. Like I said,
Yeah.
across geography, such a basic insight-based IP, which is people want to know what's in your bag.
Yeah.
Let's tell them and
Simple
see
as
how
that.
they, yeah.
Timeless, I
Super,
would say. Timeless.
super cool idea, man. For sure. Now, moving on as a creative director, Ishan, I would want to know what is the difference, especially from brand POV or even from marketing POV, between content and IP? Like, are there any distinct differences?
So I think when you say IPs, and like there's a big difference between content and IP. Like content in a way is a subsection of an IP also. Like a content piece is a part of an IP. It's as simple as that. But so when you talk about standalone content pieces, a lot of brands, I think I've seen a lot of brands mess up in this way where they post random content pieces without strategy, without any kind of storytelling behind it. But what an IP essentially does is it enables the brand to build recall. It's like a series, right? Where if if I'm on Instagram and I'm watching an IP that's been done by a particular brand and they've done, maybe 7, 8, 10 episodes, every time something, a content piece from that particular brand, if when it turns up on my screen, I know exactly what I'm looking at and I know exactly what I can expect from them. So standalone content pieces are a subsection of IPs, but I think people mistake what the whole idea of IPs are. When you were also saying that brands come to us and ask us to, create IPs for them, they want long-term investments. It's a long-term investment of a brand to build an identity, to build recall, and to build an audience rather than just one content piece that can go viral.
So I think if we were to summarize it for our audience,
Yeah.
I would put it in two brackets, right? Which is content is say a one-off piece,
Yeah.
okay, where an IP is repeatable.
Yeah.
I think a content would also be very dependent on algorithm, what is
Mm.
trending, what is not trending, versus an IP is very
Yeah.
audience driven, right? Which is once it sticks, then people, irrespective of the algorithm, it does well.
Yeah.
Then content can be forgettable. Like you watch something in today's time, you know how it is. You like something, it might have high views. The content might be considered viral, but you
Yeah.
forgot it because you don't remember what you saw.
Yeah.
Versus an IP, something that you can remember. Like I remember the GQ one, right? Or you remember the hot ones.
Yeah.
Then content pieces are also very short term versus IPs compound over time. So it's like a long term game, which is something you stick to across across your distribution, right? Whether it is
Mm.
YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, and you stick to the core idea of the IP across time. So
Yeah.
months, years go by, and people still come back. So I think to summarize, I would say that in a way, content can get views, but I think an IP builds an audience, right? It
Yeah.
almost builds an
Yeah.
audience that you can further build a relationship. It's a community, and then they'll, I'm sure, purchase, right? As a brand, at the end of the day, you want them to buy your products. And
Mm.
once they're in, once they like you as a founder, once they like you as a brand, they like the IPs that you're doing, you're
Mm.
adding value to their life. Then after that point, when you do sell to them, right, they will buy it because they've bought into your
It builds
psychology,
culture.
your philosophy, all of it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
part of that culture. And to hit the nail in the head, I feel like an IP is like a lot of brands now want to do viral content. They want to be like, hey, let's make this real and grow viral. IPs are something that if your idea is strong and if you feel like it can create impact, you have to be at it. As a brand owner, also, you need to understand that when you are working on IPs, when you're working on a series, impact doesn't come immediately. It comes and compounds over time, like you said. And I'll just allude to like one example that we had, which is one of our own brands, right? Like we did this IP for Copper and Cloves, where we were kind of displaying regular people, everyday conversations between, how people are, who come to Copper and Cloves, what are the type, what is the demographic. And we did a bunch of videos actually. And then suddenly one blew up. And it got like the others were like engaging around like 10,000, 15,000, 5,000, 6,000 views. But there was one video that just went up to 60K. So that standalone content piece becomes your viral content piece, but it's part of an IP. So when someone comes to my page or when someone sees another video like that, they'll be like, oh, hey, this is a Copper and Close IP because they've seen a video like that before.
Yeah, and they expect that that video will be of a certain quality. The
Yeah,
way it's
exactly.
recorded, the way it's shot, the
Ab-
storytelling, all of it, right?
ab-
Yeah,
yeah.
and that will also have somebody probably follow you, right? Like in
Mhm.
F&B, like the example you gave, people don't follow brands, or I don't follow a lot of
Yeah.
places I eat at. But like an IP like that would make me want to sign up.
And I think
That's the point.
the one interesting thing us as marketers is that it's a controversial opinion, but we talk about brands all the time. But the question to everyone out there is that do you really follow those brands on your personal Instagrams? If not from work purposes, but what makes you want to follow a brand in the first place? And very few brands are able to.
Yeah, very few. And like it's about why should I follow it? Like I
Yeah,
love your food, right? But are you adding so much value where I want to follow you and know, which time what it is that you're doing,
yeah,
right? What are the new offers and any of that stuff? What is the story behind the build? That's why so many of these founders, especially in F&B, are coming forward, right? It's because
Mhm.
people are interested in what it is that they are doing, right? Like on a day to day. And that is why you follow them, not because of the food or the new product innovation or the new menu that has
Yeah,
dropped.
it's a value addition. Like I would rather why would I want to look at pictures of your food on Instagram when I can look at a cat doing backflips? Just a random example.
Not a cat person, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Plug house cats right there.
Plug house cats right there. So I found this really cool brand. That's this coffee estate that I found, and I think coffee is something that people relate to really well in 2026 because I think we spoke about this in our previous episodes where we said that coffee, conscious living, people have become more aware of the kind of product they're consuming, and someone who's doing this really well, I feel like it's a coffee estate, it's a slow living, it's conscious living, it's eco-friendly. Is this brand called Halli Beri. And I found this when I was going through my Instagram as well, where again, I think beautiful representation of building culture for a particular brand, right? Showing the whole aspect. It's not just coffee, but the whole aspect of what goes behind the process, what they go through. And it's literally like if I go to the website also, like beautifully done, like the aesthetics, the illustration styles, how they go about it. It's very like nuanced in that way. And it's literally just this coffee plantation where I think it's owned by a family of women, and it's a women-owned plantation as well, where they talk about the idea of being eco-friendly, talk about the idea of it also says that it's responsible caffeinating, conscious coffee. So again, the whole idea of being in when I look at it also, it makes me feel like I'm at one with nature. If that makes sense. Like it makes you feel like you're not just part of the coffee process, but you're also part of the whole idea of what it is. And when I go through the page, it makes me feel very calm. It's very cooling. It's very away from the hustle bustle of the city life, rather, I would say. And it's beautifully done. Like everything they talk about how I think there was a post I found on just simple as talking about the joy of watching kids taking long walks through the plantation, right? Again, no business talking about this. And they'd rather just talk about the coffee, but again, showing the vibe and the aesthetic that they try to, go for. And it's beautifully done, like the formats they've explored, the photography, it's cottages, it's a cafe, and I think it feels like an escape from the reality of the life that we live. So I think maybe this was something that really called out.
Yeah. And from a business standpoint, right? Like whether it's Airbnb or like when we look at properties where we want to go and stay,
Yeah.
the number one thing is that how many properties that you've stayed at do a good job of visually showing what to expect, right?
Mm,
What all we have, and in a very like seamless, normal, non-advertising way,
yeah.
which is don't come, best offer, come here. We have the best room, we have the best bed, we have the best hospitality, none of that. It's
Mm,
like you come here to live, like you said, with be one with nature. People will leave you, people come to relax here. What to expect is shown through the visuals, right? And
mm,
even on the website, they've done a really good job of like showing that we're in Chikmagalur, we're in Cool, we have our plantation, we have our
uh,
homestay. Come stay with us, go through the estate, know more about coffee,
mm.
right? And then enjoy a hot cup in nature and just forget
Yeah.
about all the hustle and bustle.
It's a great example of a brand that's creating culture. Like we spoke about, I think, in our previous episode, where it's storytelling and experiential rather than just about the product. And I think they do that really.
And no hard sell. I just love how
Yeah.
everything is so seamless, beautiful, and straightforward, and no hard sells. even with the stuff that they have.
And it's so
Amazing. Like, I
raw.
want to go here right now. I want to take a break.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you want to take a break. And it's such a
Yeah.
direct opposite to like our urbanized minds, right? So this to us seems so much more enamoring than it would in general.
For sure. For sure. And obviously have pets. That's the number one key, guys. Make sure you have pet images in your
It's
feed. People
on your feed.
just love it. We love
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
it's cute. Yeah,
And they've introduced, I think, their pets on the
yeah,
property. The names are there, all of that. Yeah.
yeah. So it
Dido
gives
and
them
Dodi.
personality.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there'll be people going there and asking them about who who Rose
Dido
is,
and
or
where they
who.
are and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautifully done. I love the illustrations. I think the photography is raw with real life imagery. It's a good mix of everything that we see together. I mean, even the packaging, even the products, even the way they've displayed their cutlery, beautifully done. Honestly,
Amazing. Amazing. You know, it's like we're obviously based out of Bangalore, and like Karnataka has such good coffee estates that like we should definitely
yeah.
do an outing, a company outing there as well. And I would highly recommend everyone to check out this part of the world. It's beautiful. It's actually like beautiful, like tea plantations, coffee plantations. Like it's amazing. It's really something.
And the personality of this brand comes out in the best way possible.
Yeah. It's just so storytelling. Love it. But yeah,
Beautiful.
great shout out, Ishan. You've been coming up with some really good shout outs, man. I think the founders of these brands, even the people that follow us, are really happy with some of the stuff that we are covering and these unknown or unheard gems, right? Which are either
Yeah,
doing a really good job or are worth mentioning. So good
worth
job there.
mentioning.
And I hope people are enjoying On the Radar as much as we are
Yeah,
having these brands.
getting a lot of good feedback from people on it. So that's good. That's always
Good
great.
job. Good job.
Yeah,
But yeah, that ends our episode here, right? I think we've done a great job of breaking down what an IP means from a marketing lens, right? And what brands have done really well, and how hopefully, someone can learn how to build an IP as well, right? Which is something that we'll cover in one of our episodes that are coming, right? In terms of how to structure it, right? So
yeah,
we'll go over a brand and we'll go over that, or we could release it as a probably 4 to 5 minute
yeah,
segment, Ishan, where we talk about how to build an IP, right?
yeah.
So these episodes can be more conversational and the shorter ones can be more how to do. It's almost like a
Yeah.
training tutorial kind of.
Yeah, and I think we can ask our viewers if there's value addition in them understanding the process behind it rather than the storytelling aspect of how we cover them. So I think we
Yeah,
can.
like we covered what an IP is. Now they might be interested in, okay, now teach us how to come about
Yeah,
constructing an IP,
and I think that's the
right?
next.
So we
For
probably
sure.
do that. Done, done. Sounds good. But yeah, thanks for your time, Ishan, and see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Take care.
Cheers.